Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting radio-exclusive offer just for you. For a limited time, you can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just text WATER to 64,000. That's WATER to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. WATER to 64,000.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Pocket Hose. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at pockethose.com/terms.
You are about to listen to the Dr. Daliah Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Daliah Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Daliah.
All right, we are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. Daliah, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So how bad is alcohol? Is alcohol going to kill you? It'll kill some, either by car accidents, drunk driving, poor decision making when you're bungee jumping. Although I don't know how many people bungee jump anymore. Domestic violence. And yes, it is linked to cancer. Now, an occasional mojito, an occasional margarita, an occasional beer, moderation, overall, we don't panic about. But can any amount of alcohol be carcinogenic? Well, the answer is yes. There's a new study from the International Agency for Research on Cancer that has revealed another risk. The research recently published in the journal PLOS Medicine classified alcohol as a carcinogen, highlighting a particular increased risk of pancreatic cancer. Now, the Surgeon General had previously mentioned that cancers related to alcohol include breast cancer, colorectal cancer, esophageal cancer, laryngeal or voice box cancer, liver cancer, mouth cancer, and throat cancer. To me, pancreatic cancer was always on the list, but it might not have been said. Alcohol can cause inflammation of the pancreas. Inflammation of the pancreas could lead to pancreatic cancer for some. The pancreas is an organ that resides in your GI tract to help secrete enzymes to help you digest foods. It's a very juicy, dynamic organ that's very delicate. And in medical school, we learn not to blink with the pancreas. And I can't say the word, but it's a 4-letter word. And we are taught as medical students, you never with the pancreas because it's very, very delicate. And apparently medical students are still taught today that same phrase. So the researchers associated the pancreatic cancer risk with beer, spirits, liquor, but interestingly, not necessarily with wine intake. According to senior study author Dr. Pietro Ferrari, alcohol consumption is a known carcinogen, but until now, the evidence linking it specifically to pancreatic cancer has been considered inconclusive. Our findings provide new evidence that pancreatic cancer may be another cancer type associated with alcohol consumption, a connection that has been underestimated until now. I didn't underestimate it. I knew it was an issue, but that's just me. So for the study, they looked at 2.5 million participants with a median age of 57, followed them for 16 years. Out of that group, 10,067 cases of pancreatic cancer were recorded. Each increase in 10 grams of ethanol per day in alcohol consumption was associated with a 3% increased risk of pancreatic cancer. Women who consumed 15 to 30 grams of alcohol, which kind of equates to like 1 to 2 drinks a day had a 12% increased risk of pancreatic cancer. Men who consumed 30 to 60 grams of alcohol or 2 to 6 drinks a day had a 15% increased risk of pancreatic cancer. Intake over 60 grams a day associated with a 36% greater risk. Now, if you look at that range, 2 drinks a day for a man in America is considered moderate. They ask women to not go over 1 drink a day, men to not go over 2. But even with that standard, you're at a higher risk of pancreatic cancer. Now, this doesn't necessarily, mean if you drink alcohol, you're going to get cancer, but your risk increases. And many of us underestimate what we're drinking and how much we're drinking. We may, after work, go to happy hour. Then we might cook dinner. And then while cooking dinner, cook with some wine and then drink some of the wine. Then at dinner, have the wine. And then after dinner, relax with some wine. Or, even though they aren't necessarily bringing up wine as a culprit, we have had multiple studies suggesting that even wine is enough to increase one's cancer risk, whether it's breast, colorectal, or laryngeal cancer. So, if you can cut back on your alcohol, do so. If you drink heavily, you have got to be very careful cutting back aggressively or going cold turkey. Because if you are a heavy drinker, you can seize if you stop drinking abruptly. So if you drink every day and then you stop drinking, that could be dangerous. So you definitely need to talk to your medical provider. Having cancer linked to alcohol use, the numbers we're being told is at least 75,000 of us each year are getting alcohol-related cancers. Not good. And why? What is our fascination with alcohol? Is it, we go out, we want to feel like we're partying, water to me is fine. Iced tea, a diet soda. I'm not a big fan of wine. I don't like the taste of a lot of it, and maybe it's because I can't afford the fancy wine. I had some fancy wine. It was nice, but there is no way I'm going to spend $70 or $100 a bottle. No way. That's ridiculous. And so, I think we have this preoccupation with it because we want to feel a little buzzed. We want an excuse for being comedic or clownish or flirty. Say, well, yes, if I have a drink and then if I flirt with you, I can always blame the drink. And so people, I think, like to use that as an excuse or as an alibi. Or they don't want to drive. So I had a drink. I remember one of my co-residents was supposed to be on call, didn't know. So the attending called saying, where are you? You're supposed to be on call. Get over here. And he said, I had 2 drinks. I should. And he got out of call. I was like, no way. That worked? He said, I didn't know I was on call. They must have changed the schedule. I had 2 drinks. And I'm like, you got out of call? Man. See, I follow the rules too closely. 1-877 Doc Daliah. Don't go away.
Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting radio-exclusive offer just for you. For a limited time, you can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just text WATER to 64,000. That's WATER to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. WATER to 64,000.
By texting 64000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Pocket Host. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at pockethost.com/terms.
This is an urgent announcement for anyone that's $10,000 or more in debt. Before you make another minimum payment, you need to know there are special programs that can completely free you of your debt. Total Financial Freedom can help you become debt-free in months instead of years. Resolve your credit card debt, signature loans, department store cards, internet loans, and timeshares. Call Total Financial Freedom now at 800-878-6020 for a free consultation. For 16 years, Total Financial Freedom has helped thousands get out of debt. You can feel confident when calling because Total Financial Freedom is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. Battling for years and years stuck in the endless cycle of minimum payments could take decades. You have the right to get your debt resolved and substantially reduce your monthly payments. Call Total Financial Freedom now at 800-878-6020. That's 800-878-6020. 800-878-6020.
Let's face it, guys, we're living in times where the truth is becoming more suppressed and censorship is increasing at an alarming rate, especially on social media platforms. It's Clyde, and I want to tell you about a safe and secure digital playground we put together just for you. It's Aftermath.media. You get access to thousands of Ground Zero archives and podcasts, along with our private social media groups with your basic membership starting at only $7 a month. Each subscription includes tech support, access to the RSS feeds, along with our own chat room and Telegram channel. In addition, the premium membership includes research study groups, webinars, a document and movie library, a live video stream of Ground Zero, a monthly Zoom chat with me, and other bonus content. Be sure to check out our yearly specials as well. Sign up today while you're thinking about it. Sign up at Aftermath.media. Again, that's Aftermath.media.
Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting radio-exclusive offer just for you. For a limited time, you can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just text WATER to 64,000. That's WATER to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. WATER to 64,000.
By texting 64000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Pocket Host. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at pockethost.com/terms.
All right. We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. Dali, 1-877-DOCDALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer, and big thanks to you all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or X at Dr. Daliah, Facebook, The Dr. Daliah Show, and on YouTube, click like and subscribe. So a big beef that I have is be consistent. Greta Thunberg, if you are really about the globe and humanitarianism and saving the world, you really didn't try to get the hostages out? You weren't advocating for the protection of the hostages in Gaza and for there to be no more attacks like what happened on October 7th? Be consistent. Same thing with these riots that are by the way, in medicine, if you aren't consistent, you lose your license. It's malpractice. There has to be consistency. You can't pick and choose who you decide to help. And so that's a big beef because I couldn't get through medical school without making sure that every single thing you did was guideline, evidence-based, and was consistent and predictable practicing. You're allowed to use your instinct. You're allowed to say, you know what, I think something else is going on here. As I mentioned with that woman who thought she just had a keloid scar and I think she has cancer. You are allowed to go, look, I think there's something else going on. Let's get this looked at. But you have to be consistent. If something's not right, if something's growing, you get it checked out. You get it biopsied. That's what you do for anybody. And so one thing that I'm kind of scratching my head about with these protests turning riots is if all these people are rioting against ICE and deportation in America, then why aren't they also doing it in Canada or Germany or Japan? Why just America? You know, Canada will deport you. They deport in Canada. When you look at some of the rules for Canada, let me see here. According to Google AI, in Canada, deportation is triggered by an individual being deemed inadmissible for various reasons, which could lead to a removal order. Criminal convictions, security threats, violating immigration laws, meaning if you lied, you get kicked out for health issues or financial issues. They say individuals with certain health conditions that endanger the public health or are likely to place an excessive burden on the healthcare system, or those unable to support themselves and their families, may be subject to deportation. So if Canada will deport you based on financial concerns, then, you know, where's this consistency? I'm just really, really confused. And I don't get it. You know, and maybe we are allowing this sort of behavior because we understand that there's politics involved and we understand that people, you know, it's not really about the cause. A lot of these individuals, they just want to show they're unhappy. And they can't just go out into the streets and say, I don't like Trump. That didn't work years ago. So I believe Las Vegas had a protest and arrests were made. I think there's been them in Chicago and LA, New York. So multiple cities have had people take to the streets in peaceful assembly. That's what our Constitution protects. If there is something you're unhappy about, you know, that is why we have such a great country, because you could air your grievances. If you don't want to wait until election day, you know, or you disagree with the popular vote or the electoral vote that ushered Trump back in for another presidency, you could peacefully assemble. You could raise signs and you could say, we're concerned about this. But what I don't understand is, are you also going to go up to Canada? Are you going to go into these other countries who are also deporting? You're going to see a lot of people online talking about civil versus criminal, saying violating an immigration order, coming across the border illegally is civil, and it equates to jaywalking. Well, it doesn't. That doesn't equate to jaywalking in America. It doesn't equate to jaywalking in Canada. So with America, whether it's civil or criminal, if you falsify your immigration application, if you re-enter illegally, if you have a criminal past, if you committed any sort of fraud at any part of that pathway, unlawful presence, overstaying a visa, if you were told prior to coming to America that this is the process, you know, then that's going to possibly put you at risk for deportation. But with Canada, the rules are even similar, if not more strict. So for Canada, your deportation could be triggered, one, if you have had a serious crime, if you did drugs, theft, if you stole something, you're out. Canada is going to deport your ass. If you do drugs, if you pose a threat to Canadian security, if you overstay your visa, According to Canadian law, if you overstay a visa, if you work without proper authorization, if you provide false information on your applications, you'll get deported. You know, we in America had Ellis Island, and we would not let people in years ago. This was decades ago. If you had an illness that could spread to others, or if you didn't have a financial sponsor. Well, as it says here, individuals with certain health conditions that endanger public health in Canada or are likely to place an excessive burden on the healthcare system, or those unable to support themselves and their families may be subject to deportation. In Canada, if a refugee claim is rejected, the claimant may be deported back to their country of origin. So we in America have refugee status, asylum seekers. But if we don't feel you are, technically a refugee, then just like any other country, you could be deported. So the question I have is, what is America doing differently that these other countries aren't? It seems like the immigration laws are pretty similar, if not identical. And so are the rioters going to go up to Canada? Are they going to go into Europe? Now, the reason why people say, well, it's not the same because of the numbers. Well, Trump, we knew this was going to happen, where Biden let so many people in that then the onus was going to be on the Trump administration to go and get them out. And we are seeing the rap sheets of some of these people that are being deported. And if you notice, Trump's numbers are rising because this is what America wanted. They didn't want criminals here. And we're not talking about people who just crossed the border illegally. We're talking about criminal offenses, not civil offenses. So now when people are let's say peacefully assembling, they have that right, and I will protect that right for them. I think peaceful assembly is something we all are blessed with being in this country. But then I'm seeing the Molotov cocktails. I'm seeing the fires. I'm seeing businesses looted. What is the cause you're doing? Is it because of your humanitarianism that you want people that cross the border illegally to stay? Which you have every right to advocate for, but you don't have a right to destroy a business that had nothing to do with it. You don't have a right to steal a TV, to steal a Gucci purse. What's going on here? And if your law enforcement says assembly done, time to go, you follow the laws. You know what's interesting? That phrase, you catch more bees with honey than you do vinegar. If you are really against something, just follow the lead of Martin Luther King Jr. He was brilliant in terms of we could be peaceful. Even our silence could be deafening. We can make change because he knew that easily the narrative could change if people end up doing criminality themselves, like looting, wrecking businesses, throwing Molotov cocktails at cops. So, is Canada going to be next because they have almost identical deportation laws as America? Are there going to be riots all over the world? We got to be consistent here. 1-877 Doc Daliah. Don't go away.
Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting radio-exclusive offer just for you. For a limited time, you can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just text WATER to 64,000. That's WATER to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. WATER to 64,000.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Pocket Hose. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at pockethose.com/terms.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems and their solutions. For example,
diesel fuel cetane levels.
in many states, the cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts. Due to a cleaner burn, there are less hydrocarbons and particulate matter in your exhaust. This reduces the blockage of your diesel particulate filter. Using Diesel Extreme generates 83% less DPF regeneration. The 6-in-1 Diesel Extreme formula also includes the most concentrated detergent on the market, lubricity enhancer, water demulsifier, rust and corrosion inhibitors, and a fuel stabilizer.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
Back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Dali, 1-877 DOCDALI. So America turning 250 years old, I believe next year, is a big, big deal. And our Army turns 250 years old this Saturday. God bless our troops. God bless our military. God bless the families that support our military. And there is going to be a big parade celebrating the Army in Washington, as I think there should be. The 250-year milestone is huge. And this administration has a much different attitude towards our military than previous ones. And the honoring them, showing pride, encouraging enlistment and volunteerism is something that other countries do. And I think the U.S. has every right to celebrate such a huge milestone. Of course, there's this poll saying that 60% of Americans feel the parade is not a good use of funds. 38% believe the parade is worth the cost. Apparently, the parade is multi-million dollars, they're saying. I look at it as, we have recruitment dollars. And the amount of money to recruit people to join the military is well into the millions, if not billions of dollars. And the money going into keeping up people's spirits and psychological support for our troops is also very expensive. And so how I look at this is not additional money spent, but money spent for a similar expenditure. According to one poll reported by Politico, 40% of Americans approve of Trump's decision to hold a parade, compared to 31% who neither approve or disapprove, or 29% who are against it. So the majority of people technically are not against it. And the parade will also coincide with Trump's 79th birthday. I think he has a right to celebrate his birthday, but this is not necessarily a birthday parade, which I think the media is trying to say. There's going to be 6,600 soldiers marching along with 25 M1 Abrams, main battle tanks, dozens of other military vehicles. Several generations of military aircraft are planned to fly overhead, including World War II era B-25 bombers, Huey helicopters similar to those used in the Vietnam War, a P-1 biplane fighter aircraft, like the ones first used in the 1920s. Very, very cool. Now, the cost is going to be estimated to be anywhere from $25 million to $45 million. And so there have been Republicans and some people concerned about the cost. But your 250th anniversary is something that should have been budgeted for. And, maybe they could trim, some millions off. I still don't know why the parade has to be that expensive, especially when the military is already, working that day. So you don't have to necessarily pay the military to work that day if they're already working. If you have the planes and the pilots are already in service, I mean, I am kind of interested in where the money is going to, unless it has to go to hiring extra security. And again, I think, that, again, is already a part of our defense budget. So, we have a much different attitudes towards our country, towards the military than we did decades ago. And I don't know if it was the Vietnam War. I don't know if it was, certain presidents that held office, but people did not feel the patriotism over the last few decades as they used to. I mean, you couldn't wait to serve your country. You couldn't wait to be there. Now, maybe that was, the narrative, and a lot of people are like, I really don't want to die. But you felt bad. You felt stupid if you didn't sign up and go overseas. I don't think necessarily there was a draft during World War I. And in World War II, the recruitment was people wanted to fight the Nazis. They wanted to be involved. And then the women went to work at the factories, and it was a full country effort. And here we are at the 250th year of our military. We have one of the best countries on the globe in the universe. Why not celebrate it? And when somebody says, "Oh, but it's going to cost money," Biden's trips cost money. Biden's inaccurate medical diagnoses cost money. Obamacare websites that went down, that cost money. If we're going to spend money, I don't mind spending money on our military and honoring our military and letting other countries know we are badass. And so, I think you just have people that want to fight everything that Trump does. But can you imagine if Trump didn't want to honor our military? Do you know what backlash that would be? Recruitment is up. In fact, we're hearing that some branches had filled positions faster than expected because maybe people were, happy that they wouldn't have to be walking around in heels and doing some of the woke things that the military under the Biden administration had them do. Maybe it's because they felt like the commander-in-chief was going to have their back and not be hidden in a basement in Delaware. Maybe it's because they really like Pete Hegseth. And they see Pete Hegseth, going to the bases, rolling up his sleeves, working out with them, finding out what they need. Now, it's tricky because our national security is pivoting on how our military does and how strong our military could be and how vibrant and robust our military could be. And that takes money, whether it takes money paying for recruits, whether it takes money paying for promotions, which, by the way, you don't get a lot of money when you work for the military. When you work for the government, some jobs, I think they overpay people, but in terms of the military, your cost of living, barely covers it. You don't make a lot of money being a career military individual, but also the decoration of it. I looked at West Point's graduation and these graduations from universities and academia. That costs money. If other institutions could spend the money that they're spending on their graduates, we can't spend to celebrate the 250th year and anniversary of our military, of our army. It's ridiculous. So, there's certain lawmakers that are going to be skipping the parade. Why? Because it's too hot? It's because you're anti-military? You honor our military. I don't understand this. And these we're being told the Republicans also are going to be skipping. I don't get that. Do we have the type of military which people don't understand? If you ever look at the history of World War II and Nazi Germany and the Russian pogroms, and militaries have long done things to their constituents that would be unheard of in America. We have the nicest, most protective, most willing to put their life on the line for you individuals. Show them some thanks, show them some gratitude, and show them some respect. 1-877-Dr.
Carl Amari here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you, and be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code RADIO at checkout. This is a limited-time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com. That's 100radioshows.com.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? My name is Ron LeGrand, and over the past 40 years, I've bought over 3,000 houses without using my money or credit, and taught thousands to do the same. Today, even in a virtual environment, we buy nice houses in nice neighborhoods using no banks, realtors, contractors, or other costly entanglements, and build huge cash flow and wealth without the hassle of tenants, all without credit and little or no money. You don't need a license or experience, and I'll show you exactly how it's done. Text FREE to 99799, and I'll send you my free training. I promise you I'll change the way you think about real estate and open the door to a new lifestyle that doesn't involve risk or rehabs and can quickly replace your current income. Text FREE to 99799, and let me show you how to take your life back and build cash flow and wealth from your home. That's FREE to 99799. Again, FREE to 99799.
As an organ donor, your story doesn't have to end. The good in you can live on. In fact, you could save up to 8 lives and restore sight and health for many more. Sign up right now online as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. You'll be happy you did, and just maybe someone else will be happy too. Go to organdonor.gov. It saves lives. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. Dali, 1-877-DOCDALI. So, no surprise here. We now have people reporting a condition called Ozempic penis. We had Ozempic face, Ozempic butt. These are contours and physical changes that may happen on those people losing weight on medications like the GLP-1 agonists, like tirzepatide or semaglutide, that Ozempic and Mounjaro, originally for diabetes, now have weight loss derivatives such as Wegovy and Zepbound. Ozempic penis, however, is something that people are happy with, right? And what it is men are stating that their penis size has grown, has increased since they have been on Ozempic. One said that he grew at least 1.5 inches. Now, don't call your doctor for a prescription. Can everybody just wait? Probably what's happening is for those individuals who are overweight and they have like a pannus and they can't necessarily see their genitalia. Once you start to lose perigenital fat, things might protrude more. And so they might be able to see their male appendage more. It could also be that these medications are improving blood flow. Hence, when they do have erections, their erection might be more full. So this can be a huge positive, but understand that if you aren't able to keep up with the medication or afford it or deal with the side effects, then you might get the alleged shrinkage. But you are not necessarily having a growth. Right? It's not bringing you back to the pubertal days where you are going from a certain size to a bigger size. You know, it's funny. People say, Dr. Daliah, is it true that you grow your hair when you're dead and your nails still grow when you're dead? No, your hair and nails stop growing. But what happens is your turgor in your fingers and on your scalp, the water, you start to dehydrate and you start to desiccate and dry out. So then your head shrinks, and then the hair, because you have that shrinkage, more of the follicle is now exposed to outside, so it looks like your hair grew. So there'll be more roots. Same thing with your nails. Your nails will look like they grow because your fingers are now shrinking because they're not all full of fluid. So my guess is that could possibly be what's happening with Ozempic. So New York Post reports how people are all excited about this. One guy on Reddit said, I recently measured myself down there and noticed I gained an inch. He said, now, I think people will say it's because of fat loss, but he said, I measured myself when I was thinner. I also bone pressed during measurement before and also this time. Has anyone else noticed this change in themselves? So people think that they're actually having a growth of their genitalia. I don't think it's necessarily growing in size, but I do think the erection could be different, and then the perigenital fat. By the way, there are no bones in the penis at all. When people say they suffered a penis fracture, those are fibrous soft tissue injuries, but there's no bones, despite people and their jokes on what they may have, depending on the time of day. So when you look at these Ozempic butt, Ozempic face, Ozempic breasts, women have been complaining that their breasts are getting saggy. Right? You know, when their face is getting saggy because they had relied on some of that buoyancy of the fat to help with the curvature. I do caution people getting cosmetic surgery too soon, because if you gain the weight back, now you're out 20, 30, 40, 50 grand. Our Ozempic use has gone viral. And what I'm seeing as a physician is, yes, people have been losing weight. But what I'm also seeing is people plateauing. Which, by the way, when you do lose weight, you need to plateau because your body needs to reset. This memory that your fat cells have, or that your body has, or this mathematical calculation for your kidneys and liver, it's much easier for your body to go back to the original weight than to recalculate. But when it recalculates and reshifts its memory is during these plateaus. But a big mistake people are making is they're spending thousands of dollars each month, or they're getting compound formulas, and then they're noticing it's not working. And then they just keep going up on the dose, or they went up on the dose too quickly rather than titrating slowly. And if they're not also exercising and building their muscle and changing their eating habits and eating more vegetables and still eating pizza and steak and onion rings, they're not losing the weight. And so, we really have to educate people before they start going on the Ozempic path. And a big issue I'm still seeing are patients are telling me they have a prescription, they just don't have the drug. The pharmacy's out. I had a family member who has diabetes, couldn't get their medication for at least a week. Now, when you're diabetic, you need your Ozempic or Mounjaro for your diabetes. All right, that's maintaining your sugar. And pharmacies are out. And so I don't think the companies can make enough quick enough, especially for the doses that people are taking. I mean, how many hundreds of millions of people do we have in the U.S.? We even have teenagers wanting to use it. We have parents wanting to give it to their kids, which, by the way, you should really stop and rethink what you're doing with your pubertal child. By the way, if they're hungry, hand them a carrot. Don't hand them a cookie. All right? Their metabolism is up. If their metabolism is not working the way it should be, get them checked out for a thyroid disorder, an eating disorder, a hormonal issue, or something else that could be endocrinologically going on, like with their adrenals. But we are having so many people want to use these drugs and so much demand for it that there's just not enough. So when patients are telling me they're gaining their weight back because they can't get the dose, and they're almost acting like drug seekers, or they're like, I need a dose, I need something. I need to get on something as quickly as possible. I need it, because they're so afraid that the weight is going to come back. That already tells you that that's not a sustainable weight loss method. There is not one study out there that says you could be on this medication for 100 years. So if you are 25 and you are desperately trying to maintain getting your weekly dose of these medications, what are you going to do when you're 35, 45, 55, 65? What is the long-term data of you taking these medications? And then where's the money coming from? There's big demand that Medicaid pays for this. Okay, well, the drugs, even though they can be made for, $5-6 a month, they don't cost that. They cost $1,000 to $1,600 a month. And I'm seeing the prices even go up. Now, some of the companies are offering cash pay discounts, like for $500, but who has that money? So before you start to invest thousands upon thousands of dollars a year, are you also going to the gym? Do you have plan B? Now, are you exercising? Are you eating well? Because you will have to go off the medication one day, whether you want to or not, whether it's a side effect, whether it's costing too much, whether it just stops working and your body outsmarts it. Goes, you know what? I know it's trying to stop me from being hungry, but like Tracy Morgan gained weight on Ozempic. I think he said he gained 40 pounds. So for some people, after it stops working, the body's like, no. Or your pharmacy says, sorry, Bill, we don't have it. It's not there. You have got to have a plan B. And so hearing, I could get Ozempic penis. I don't like these studies, because now you're going to have a bunch of men who might not necessarily need to be on the medication asking for it. You know, it's interesting. I'll look at the weight of some of these patients on these medications. Some of them, these women, are like 115 pounds. And I'm like, why are you on it? Well, because it's bathing suit season. I want to be 100 pounds. Can you let the diabetics get the medication first? 1-877-DOC-DALIAH. Don't go away. Hi guys, Dr. Daliah here. Addictions can sneak up on us and come in many forms, whether it's drugs, alcohol, sex, video games, porn, or something less obvious such as food, internet, or shopping. Addiction can seem innocent at first and then evolve into an insurmountable evil. In our book, Addiction Basics, Caitlin Kalikas and I dive into the common addictions and provide tips for identifying and preventing these before they sneak in and take over our lives. Addiction Basics can be found on Amazon or my website, drdaliah.com. Check it out.
Lisa Wolf here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you. And be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code RADIO at checkout. This is a limited-time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com. That's 100radioshows.com.